Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Legendary Mad Matilda. Get the conclusion to the Spinsterella trilogy at online booksellers today. I was watching an Obsidian radio video a couple of weeks ago, and he made a point regarding all of these white actresses in Hollywood making all these allegations of sexual harassment and sexual assault in scandals like the Harvey Weinstein scandal, the Bill Cosby scandal, and the Roger Ailes scandal, and the accusations made against people like Dustin Hoffman, Ben Affleck, and Sylvester Stallone. And his point was this: if things are so bad in Hollywood for white women, then why don't white women go out of their way to make their own films? And why don't they go out of their way to finance their own films? Because there's plenty of money in women's hands in Hollywood. When I look at actresses like Angelina Jolie, Meryl Streep, and Gwyneth Paltrow, who are making $20 million a picture, and women like Demi Moore, who are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars. These females have the money to go out here and create their own entertainment industry, but they have never made those efforts at all. And one of the reasons I believe that they don't want to make those efforts is primarily because they like being elevated to a higher position by those men in Hollywood, and they get primarily most of their resources from those men in Hollywood. So they have no incentive to go out here and make any sort of real effort towards creating their own entertainment system. Moreover, when it comes down to most of these white women, because they are so privileged and are been elevated by men for so long, they're just lazy. So they don't want to do any of the hard work because men are making most of the efforts and doing all of the hard work for them. It takes a lot of work to go out here and make a film. I mean, from the stage of writing the screenplay, that takes months of hard work sitting in front of a laptop, writing out that script, and then it takes more work to go to an agent or try to even get an agent if you're a new guy and try to write query letters trying to get all these production companies and these agents to pay your script any attention. And if you get past the agents and the production companies, it takes even more work to get your script greenlit. So a lot of these actresses don't want to do that work because that work takes time, and the time that it takes, they know they don't have, because when it comes down to many of these actresses, they know that their time in Hollywood is limited, so they don't want to do that kind of work. Moreover, they also don't want to do that kind of work because it is extremely labor intensive. When you are a director on a film or a producer of a film, it is extremely labor intensive because as a producer, you have to make sure that you know where people are. You have to make sure that your schedule for shooting is right. You have to make sure things are being shot in sequence. And you have to make sure that permits and things are taken care of. And as a director, you have to make sure that your shots are coming together and that actors are properly motivated. And again, women, primarily white women, who have been elevated to a high position in society and given things by men, they don't want to do that sort of hard work. Working on a film is extremely hard work behind the scenes, and they don't want to do that type of heavy labor or that type of heavy lifting. They rather get one of these acting jobs on one of these films and do that little bit of work rather than do the big heavy labors that many of these producers do. So that's one of the reasons I believe we don't see many of these $20 million a picture actresses or these other white women in Hollywood going out to create their own entertainment industry in the same way some black people have gone out of their way to create their own entertainment industry that is separate from mainstream Hollywood, because they don't want to do that hard work, nor do they want to go to a place where they will get less attention, because white women primarily get a lot of attention from mainstream Hollywood, again, due to those rich white men elevating them to that higher position and pushing them to a higher level. They get a lot of benefits from mainstream Hollywood, and that's why they don't make their own films, and that's why they don't create their own entertainment industry, because they get so many benefits from it, and they don't want to lose any of those benefits. And I look at these white women who have all these resources and all the opportunity in the world to make their own films, and it makes me shake my head because I can look at someone like Ava DuVernay who can go out of a way to make a film, and it shows me how these women sit there and make these arguments, and it just makes no sense to me. They sit there and talk about how the system oppresses them, but then you have a woman who could take $50,000 and make a film like I Will Follow, get that film distributed, and pull a profit. But all these white women who are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars cannot go out of their way to make any sort of inroads as it relates to creating an entertainment system they believe will be more fair and balanced to them and provide them with more opportunities. Ava DuVernay showed me that you can go out here and create your own entertainment system and entertainment industry for black people because she, with I Will Follow, made her own film, got actress Sally Richardson Whitfield to star in it, got that film distributed by a black distributor to places like the Magic Johnson Theater here in Harlem, and pulled a profit. So she showed me that it is possible for someone to create a film outside of Hollywood and pull a profit. So I sit there and I look at these white actresses who are sitting there complaining about Harvey Weinstein and all these other people in Hollywood oppressing them and denying them opportunities when they're sitting on a stack of money and could create their own Hollywood, but they don't want to do it because one, they're provided with resources by men. Two, they're being elevated to a higher position by men. Three, they're being given more attention by men. And four, it shows us that this white female actress gets all of her resources from men. And the reason why she's so upset is because she fears that she's going to lose access to those resources from those men. Many of these actresses and many of these women making these allegations are over 30. They know that their time in Hollywood is just about to be up, and they're desperate to get some last resources from this group of men before their shelf life expires. And they know that after they hit 30, they have hit what they call the wall, and they know that the pool of simps that used to pay them attention isn't going to pay them attention anymore. They're not going to be the face on all these magazines. They're not going to be the it girl. They're not going to be picked priority for scripts. And they know that their access to resources is dwindling. So they make these allegations of sexual harassment because they want to get some crumbs from the table to take care of them in their old age. And they don't want to do the hard work because women like Ava DuVernay, they will go out here and do the hard work. They will work the long hours. They will toil with limited resources and limited income. And they will do this because they want to make films. And they go out here and they make a quality film. But most of these white actresses, they don't want to make films. They want to act in them. They want to be the star of them. They want to be the center of attention in them. But they don't want to make an industry to help women because they're all about getting something for themselves. And that's what this whole scandal is all about. These females know they can no longer get anything for themselves, so they want to get some last crumbs by accusing the people they made a covert deal with at the table. They were all cool with these Hollywood producers like Harvey Weinstein and many others when they were younger, but now that they're older, they want to alter that deal so that they can get some crumbs from the table to take care of themselves in their old age. All the tools and resources were there for them to create their own films and their own entertainment industry, but white women don't want to create their own entertainment industry because they get their resources from men. And those few that do make films, they make films that really don't appeal to anyone, just like Obsidian said in his video. And I have to agree with him. Many of these films that they make, they really aren't really appealing to people. They don't have a large commercial base. And they often, again, play the same victim role in the hopes of getting attention. And that doesn't really work on a commercial marketplace. But all the tools, again, were there for these white females to create their own entertainment industry in the same way they are there for people to create their own entertainment industry in the black community. And if someone like Ava DuVernay can go out here and create their own movie and get it distributed, then why didn't all these white women do all that 20, 30, or 40 years ago instead of going out here to deal with Harvey Weinstein? These females were making 20, 30, $40 million salaries, and some of them were making 10, $15 million salaries. So they had the income, they had the resources, and all it takes to make a film, again, is not no 20, 30, $40 million. Again, I've seen people like Robert Townsend make Hollywood Shuffle with just his credit cards. Spike Lee made She's Gotta Have It with his credit cards. Ava DuVernay made I Will Follow for $50,000. Robert Rodriguez, he made films for $5,000. Many of the horror movie people, they made films for under $100,000, $200,000, and many of those films went on to become big hits. So it doesn't take a lot of money to go do this. All it takes is time and effort. But women in Hollywood, white women, don't want to make that time and effort because they want to be the center of attention and they want to live on their high privileged position at the expense of everyone else. And then when they can't live on their high privileged position anymore, they want to make themselves out to be victims, when in many cases, especially as it relates to black actresses, they made every effort to oppress them and deny them opportunities. But now that they can't get any opportunities, they want to turn around and then say that black women need to come and help them. And again, black women need to stay out of this whole sexual harassment scandals in Hollywood because it has nothing to do with them. And realize that if these females wanted to really help someone, they would have gone out of their way to make their own films back in the day instead of complaining about being oppressed by the white men who they got all their money from and had no problem with dealing with his oppressive system as long as they were being elevated to a higher position in that system and getting all the attention as the center of attention in that system. All the tools were there for these females to create their own entertainment industry in the same way black people created their own entertainment industry, and all those tools are still there and more so are now due to the internet and streaming. So anyone can make their own films and anybody can create their own opportunities, and they don't need to deal with anyone like a Harvey Weinstein or anyone else out here, because it doesn't take that much money to make a film and it doesn't take that many tools to make a film. All it takes is imagination, creativity, and a few dollars, and you could make your own films. And that's why I say it's really no excuse for these white females to sit there and complain about this Hollywood system oppressing them when they were receiving benefits from it. And the only reason why they didn't make their own films and make their own projects is because they enjoyed receiving benefits from that system and the image that elevated them to a higher position and presented them in a light that got them the attention that they wanted. The people who wanted to create different images and different media, they go out of their way to do that in the same way I do it on my SJS Direct imprint. I make books on a shoestring in the same way that filmmakers like Ava DuVernay make movies on a shoestring, and they reach audiences all over the world in the same way that I do. So I look at these white actresses who had 10 or 100,000 times more the resources, and I see them and I say that they have no excuse for sitting there and saying that this system is oppressing them when they have all the tools and the resources to create their own system and create their own images and tell their own stories. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct titles, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.